Hey guys, so today I'm going to show you how to break Killing Floor 2 with our newest friend in the weapon roster, the FNFAL. And before anybody asks, this is being played on 6-player Hell on Earth, so these large Zeds are as tough as they're going to get. Now, the FAL has been introduced as the first Commando Sharpshooter cross-perk weapon, which is something I had concerns about from the start, because those perks are meant to be weak against different enemy types. They are meant to have, very different weapon design philosophies, so a weapon that gets crossbow between them is very likely not going to make sense. In case in point, this gun does not make sense. It's actually broken as shit, especially on Commando, but we'll get to that. So the full auto recoil on this thing is supposed to be what balances it out, but as we'll quickly see, it's not really as bad as it's been made out to be. And that's a tip for y'all, by the way. If you really want to break the game with this gun, just keep it on full auto mode. Semi-auto mode is for bitches. So for sharp, you actually don't want to just lean on the trigger in full auto mode. It does kick pretty severely, as you just saw there. But if you just kind of tap it quickly, at a bit faster than you went at the semi-fire mode, but not crazily so, the recoil is really not that bad in full auto mode. You can get some pretty consistent groupings even though you're firing so damn quickly. And for the record, these are the skills I'm using. So, by the way, I'm also using 25% increased shoot speed and 30% damage from crouching. So you can imagine that this weapon might be a little messy against large Zeds. And it very much is. This thing is maybe a little too good against them. Maybe way too good against them. So, it triggers that time a lot, as you could probably guess, because it shoots so many fucking bullets so quickly. And the shots to kill are 11 from 0 racking up stacks. I tend to miss some shots, but it's only 11, so you have a pretty big margin for error. You might also notice that this thing A shoots super fast during Z time, and B is very easily controllable during Z time. I could basically just hold down mouse 1 with this thing during Z time, and not even have to move my mouse, and I will still hit dead on the shot every time. It's just really not too stiff during Z time. And you might have also noticed that I stunned that Scrake. Even though I'm not using Ballistic Shock, because this thing has high enough stun power that you will very often stun Scrakes before you kill them with this thing. So you don't even need Ballistic Shocks to take care of Scrakes for you. So a lot of times you can just stun Scrakes in the middle of the takedown, and it makes landing your other shots so much more easy. That was a better takedown there. That was only 12 shots. I still missed one. Never mind, again, this is from your racking stats. So you get this thing to max, and I have to mention that it does even more work for you. And as you can see, basically if Z time hits, you win. There's no concept about it. You're gonna win if Z time hits and you're shooting this thing at a large Z. It doesn't stand the absolute slightest chance whatsoever. Do one more of these, and then I'll move on to flush pounds, because the flush pounds are a pretty similar story, except you can't stun them, but you don't need to. Some more ammo. No spot rage. Good. So flush pounds, pretty similar story. Just quick, fast, without one with this thing. It takes about 16 shots to decap, which, as you probably know, as some of you might know, is pretty close to what the M14 has. So this thing somehow manages to have, for whatever reason, has pretty similar shots to kill with the M14. And, it's problematic, I would say. And again, it's really not too stiff to control and recoil, so long as you just don't spam it at max fire mode. Just tap it kind of quickly. And half the time it'll trigger Z time anyways, and large Z will just be completely defenseless against your onslaught during Z time. So that's how this thing works on Sharp. It's pretty broken. How does it work on Commando, though? Well, I'm not even going to take impact rounds with this thing, so you might have an idea of what direction this is going in. So let's see how this thing holds up against a Scrake as a Commando. So, two things you might have noticed there. One, it's 15 shots to kill. Two, I still stun that Scrake, and this thing stuns off perk. And three, the recoil is so much weaker with hollow point rounds. Look at this. This will be dragging down my mouse a little bit. Let's do it from hipfire. That's a little worse, but still, that's not an unbearably tight grouping. So yeah, this thing becomes even more problematic on Commando. It gets to the point just absolute don't use this thing, please. It would just be breaking the game. So yeah, stunning Scrakes with a sharp weapon and decapping them in 15 shots. I mean, really, what could possibly go wrong here? But then this begs the question of how well does this thing work against flesh pounds? I mean, Tier 5 AK got a nerf, right? So, I mean, they must not want commando weapons to decap flesh pounds in a single magazine, right? Well, there's no such luck there. This thing decaps flesh pounds in like 20 shots. You can miss 10 shots and you can still pull it off. And as you can see here from here, you're crouching like this. I'm literally not even, I'm not dragging my mouse down when I do that. I'm just following the head trace. I'm not compensating for recoil at all. I swear to God. It becomes negligible all point rounds. And once again, Commando gets a weapon that can deal with FPs because, you know, that's obviously supposed to be Commando's job. And this is something I have not talked about, but I'm using this as a Tier 4. This is a Tier 4 FL. I don't really want to test in a Tier 5 because I know what's going to happen, and I don't want to see what's going to happen. But at Tier 4, this thing weighs 8, so, I mean, that's enough room for an upgraded AK, an upgraded SCAR, a Med-AR, or if you're on Sharp, it's enough room for a double upgraded SPX. It's enough room for an M14. I mean, it's just, it's not good. This thing definitely needs some kind of nerf. It needs, like, a damage reduction, a fire rate reduction, and also a recoil increase from full auto, because this is just absolutely absurd. You shouldn't, like, it's definitely worse on Commando than it is on Sharp, but this is just overall ridiculous on both perks, and just kind of a pretty good evidence that we shouldn't have gone in Commando Sharpshooter cross perks in the first place. I told you so. But yeah, stay away from this thing if you want to not break the game like a little bitch.